from Screen Junkie Studios in the heart of Los Angeles, this is Screen Junkies Movie Fights. Now your host, Andy Signore.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Movie Fights. I'm so excited because in honor of Wonder Woman, which was fantastic, we are doing an all DC movie fights this week with questions such as, which Batman would win in a fight? What is the best DC movie of all time? Who's the best overall character? Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman? It's a rematch of our last one of who would win in a fight. Now it's best character. So much fun stuff, and I'm so excited to have three amazing DC experts. Let's meet them. Oh my gosh, look who's next to me. It's writer of Wonder Woman 77 and Screen Junkies contributor for all things DC, Mark Andreyko. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be back.
So happy to have you. I know you share my love of Wonder Woman, probably even more, but I'm sure we'll get into it during the fight. Yeah, it's great to see that and great to have you back. I'm so happy to have this person here next making her debut. She's the host of Geek History Lesson and writer for DC Comics, Ashley Robinson. Welcome, Ashley.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to finally make it on a movie fight.
Yes, I'm so how are you feeling? Your first fight. You've seen the show, I imagine. You prepped.
I'm pretty nervous. But as the only woman here, I think I have the upper hand.
Yeah, that could be. Wonder Woman is in all our thoughts right now, and you got it. And next up, so happy to have him. He was the debut in the winner of the debut death match. So we are obligated to bring you back.
Yes,
you earned your seat back. He's the host of Only Stupid Answers podcast, and you've seen him here on Screen Junkies News.
Yep.
DJ Woolridge, welcome back, DJ.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk everything DC.
That's one of your expertise, right?
I love it.
Good, all right.
Yeah.
And I love that we all have the shirts.
Yes.
I have a skirt.
So you've skirt. Oh, hey, that works.
Yeah, there you go.
And including the trend on the couch, Mr. Dan Merle, who will be fact-checking today's DC show. Hey, Dan.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Good.
We have Batman.
And we got next to you the
Flash.
Flash,
We have
Michael and
almost-
Sammy
yeah.
Capetto, who are here in line because they bumped into Mike Carlson at the Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
At Disneyland.
Yeah,
That's
and our
no
other fan
surprise.
couldn't make it, and
Yeah.
you guys, how serendipitous, just the timing worked out perfect.
It was great.
So happy to
Came
have you
in from
guys.
Kentucky. We're very excited to be here.
How was the Guardians of the Galaxy ride?
It was awesome.
Yeah?
It was really cool. Much better than Tower of Terror. So.
Ooh, some people
Those
would
are
say it was
fighting words.
blasphemy.
Ooh. No,
I hear
the
the
music
queue is really
alone,
great.
the cue and the music for the ride just
Well, it
tied it all
changes
together.
too. I heard you have to wait. How
Couple
long was
different
the wait?
options. We did the fast pass, but it was solid 2-hour wait the whole time.
Even with a fast pass.
No,
20 minutes was the longest we saw.
yeah, but the fast pass was 20 minutes.
Well, I hear you missed the queue because Mike waited and he got to see all the Easter eggs because apparently the queue and the line is the best part.
Wow. Well, the main lobby, I guess we went through that. That was cool. And then the whole.
Well, there we go. We got to check this out. But let's
Yeah.
not talk about Marvel.
Anyway,
DC.
yeah. Let's go
Yeah.
DC.
All right. Well, welcome. And Dan, you're here to fact check things. You guys know how this show works, right? Any questions before we
Got it.
begin? All right. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts!
Hear the music.
What a lovely day!
Are you not entertained?
Let them fight.
I missed that. Let them fight. I'm so glad it's back.
That's so fancy now. That new one is so
Harry
cool.
Lee, one of our fans, edited that together for
Well,
us. Did a
he's
great
awesome.
job.
He did a great job.
All right, round one. This one is a big one. We just want to go start strong. This is the question. What is the best DC Comics movie adaptation? Now, this has to be a theatrical DC superhero film. So lots to pick from. And Mark, we're starting with you. What is your choice?
There's a lot to choose from. It was tough. The original Superman is great. Batman Returns is a personal favorite. I love Dark Knight. But I normally wouldn't go with a film that is a new release, but after having seen it 3 times, I have to say Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is one of those films that, like Dark Knight and like Logan, transcends the genre. And unlike Batman, who's very open to interpretation, and every interpretation of his is valid, we've yet to see Wonder Woman come together with all the different facets of her that work and all the different permutations of her. And Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot make this character not only the Wonder Woman movie I wanted to see, but far beyond any Wonder Woman movie I could have ever imagined. It's a movie that is human and hopeful, and I think eminently rewatchable. I've seen it 3 times for free. I'm going to go see it tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. And I haven't
Paying,
seen it.
right.
Paying.
Oh,
Yes, vote with your dollars, because this movie, I put this movie right up there with Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Rocketeer, and this is a movie that is going to be as important as the original Superman movie, as important as the first X-Men movie. This is a movie, and historically, that's going to be great. And it's a great movie. It's not a great comic book movie. It's a great, great movie for everyone. Every audience I've seen it with, every person I asked said, I want to see that again right now. And it's why I love the movies, to see a movie that fulfills every hope I had and is even better than I could have hoped for.
Well, wow, way to hype the movie for everyone who hasn't seen it. But it's a lot of that's very true. All right, Ashley, what are you picking?
I think Mark did a great job as an intro for me because he dropped The Dark Knight a bunch of times, and for me there was no choice besides The Dark Knight. Now, it's really easy to look at that and say it's the first superhero movie that ever won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in Acting award for Heath Ledger posthumously as the Joker. Not only did he redefine the Joker in that role, but The Dark Knight goes on to redefine what we think of as the Best Picture category at the Academy Awards. It went from 5 slots to 10 slots. It opened up the kind of movies that you can consider there, opening way for things like Bridesmaids, different comedies, different animated movies to be considered as well, which means that future movies, hopefully like Wonder Woman, will be winning there as well. And I mentioned it redefines the Joker. It also redefines Batman in allowing our first live-action Batman to turn his head and see as he pulls out of the driveway, which is really, really lovely. There is a ton of iconic lines, everything from somebody wants to watch the world burn, why so serious, which the Hot Topic kids, God bless their souls, keep printing on t-shirts, to I'm not wearing hockey pads, which if you're Canadian is a great line. I'm really a big fan of that. It is relentless. All of the fights are on point. It's really hard to poke holes in this movie, and it's one of the only second movies in a superhero franchise that doesn't drop the ball, Winter Soldier being another one, and it's not a typical origin the way a lot of superhero movies are. It extends who this character is, and it changes his mythos in comic book movies.
All right, TJ, who are you picking?
I lucked out because you guys said theatrical. I think the best adaptation of any superhero character had a theatrical movie, and that is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, which is a continuation of the classic Batman the Animated Series, which includes the most iconic Batman and Joker, and Kevin Conroy as Batman, and Mark Hamill as the quintessential Joker, and like The Dark Knight, does something different with it. It's not the same origin, although we do dive back into what makes Batman Batman, but explore it from a new angle. And also, it does something that is no other superhero movie has done a good job with, which is creating a new villain that is iconic, that adds to the story and really dives into the character in a way no other movie has done since. And I think the DC animated universe is just the quintessential version of that universe, and this is part of that.
All right, fight it out, guys. We got Wonder Woman from Mark, Dark Knight from Ashley, Mask of the Phantasm from DJ.
I think Dark Knight is a historically important movie for all the reasons you said.
Oh, thanks.
But
That's great.
But there's a big but here, and it's not just mine.
Is it Christian Bale's? Because Affleck's is bigger, if that's what we're going on.
As a movie, it is not a fully realized movie. There are brilliant parts in it, but there are parts in it could use an edit. And I love the movie. I could watch Heath Ledger every day. I think his performance is transcendent. But as a movie, it's not a satisfying meal. There are parts, the Harvey Dent stuff is a little too long. It drags in a couple of places. Christian Bale is not the most interesting Batman.
Kevin Conroy is.
The movie rises and soars because of Heath Ledger. And yes, he definitely deserved the Oscar, and I'm a firm believer that he would have won that even if he hadn't died. I think
agree.
that performance is transcendent. But the difference between Dark Knight, which I adore, and Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman doesn't have a teaser at the end, like on the Marvel movies. It's a movie. It's a beginning, middle, and an end. It's a full meal. It's part of this shared universe, but you
Dark
don't
Knight
need...
doesn't have a teaser at the end either.
That's fine. Let me finish. You'll get your turn. And as a movie, Wonder Woman is the weakest part of Wonder Woman is better than almost anything in Dark Knight, with the exception of Heath Ledger. You can watch Wonder Woman can be shown to anyone, and everyone will be satisfied. Dark Knight has some rough spots in it, and I say that as someone who loves Dark Knight. Going back to Mask of the Phantasm, I love Batman the Animated Series. I, in college, would skip classes and have my VCR and dub out commercials while taping it on videotape. Mask of Phantasm, though, to me, when I watch it, made me want to watch episodes of the show. I think there are some good things about Mask of Phantasm, but I think if you're looking at these as movie experiences, the 2 hours you're spending, or 2.5 hours with Batman, I think Wonder Woman is the one that is the most complete meal that serves every master correctly.
Is it too early to call that with Wonder Woman? I mean, I'm the only one at the table that hasn't seen it.
I do think it's a little unfair to be arguing for a movie that DJ hasn't seen yet.
I can't.
Well, that was in an email.
Honestly, I hope you're absolutely right, because I'm leaving straight from here to go see it.
I think we all are.
I hope you're absolutely right. I love The Dark Knight, but it's not the best Batman.
But can you give me a
Christian
single
Bale.
quotable line
I don't know
from
if
Mask of the Phantasm?
Quotable line makes best adaptation.
It means
I think
it transcends the medium that it was originally born in.
I think
Is it
adaptation,
memeable?
distillation of the character. I think the closest you ever get to the comic book Batman on the big screen is Kevin Conroy's Batman in Mask of the Phantasm. And I also think it does some of the most interesting things with the character, with exploring the one moment he had where he decided whether he was going to be Batman or not. We don't go back to his parents dying. We go to that moment right before we flash back to the moment right before he becomes Batman and has an opportunity to have true love. How many times have we had a romance where it's like Batman
You
can
don't
honestly have...
think he's hampered by the fact that he's living in a romance novel with a Joker fight at the end? I mean, the Phantasm isn't even the main villain of that story. It's the Joker who, again, transcends and is redefined in The Dark Knight.
You could argue that about Batman: The Dark Knight. Who is the main villain? You've got the Joker, then you've got Harvey Dent, then you've got the Chinese gangsters. There's all this.
Yeah.
There's all
Scarecrow
this other stuff in
shows
there.
up.
The Scarecrow shows up. There's so much stuff in that once again, I think this is Sophie's choice to an extent because all three of these movies are really really good. But I think as a movie experience, which is what is the best film, Wonder Woman, and I normally wouldn't. I've seen it 3 times over the past 3 weeks, so every time I talk about it, I get emotional and I get goosebumps, and I haven't felt this way about a movie in a very 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 long time.
Better not be overselling me.
You know what? I'm not. I firmly believe I'm not because when I talk about it, it makes me want to go see the movie again.
Ashley, you've seen it, right?
I have seen it.
Is he overselling it?
He's not overselling it, but I would say that it's difficult to contend about whether a movie that's not yet hit its large theatrical release is going to be the best of all time of a franchise or of a genre because we haven't seen the cultural impact that it's going to have yet.
Oh yes, we absolutely have already. It's already the opening weekend projections 2 weeks ago were 50, and now it's probably going to break over 100
Projections are not
million.
the same as what it makes.
Yes, but you talk about the people. You talk about every audience I've seen this with. Every single woman I've seen this with has had tears in their eyes, saying this movie is unlike any movie I've ever seen. This movie is already in. It's not even out yet, but the advanced screenings in the places that have seen it has changed movie making. It is.
All right, you've sold me. I get it, and it's hard for him to argue that. So I need to hear more of why those two aren't right. And again, even without seeing it, you're making a strong argument that you have. It's too early. So give me some more against the others and your final thoughts here.
Well, I think the Dark Knight, the strongest element is not the Batman. It is Joker, and it is a redefinition of it, and it's not necessarily the most accessible take on the Dark Knight. For a distillation of Batman that anybody can see and anybody can connect to, and almost universally, this Batman is praised as the Batman. And for a cartoon to get its own movie, I also think it's one of the not only is the Batman animated series one of the best adaptations, that movie is the best extension of a cartoon to the big screen. That no matter what age you are, young, old, or whatever, you can watch and understand what makes Batman tick and see a new side to him, and see a new side to the Joker because he connects to Batman's past in an interesting way and almost ham-fisted way than the Tim Burton Batman movie.
I think it's difficult to argue that as a best theatrical release because it didn't receive wide theatrical release. It was minimum. It was only in large cities. Most people saw it either on television, a lot like
I saw it in the
the animated series.
Arizona.
Well, it didn't even make it to my country, so it clearly didn't get that wide.
I saw it in theaters, and it is to this day one of the best distillations of Batman.
Most of the people were spoiled by the action figures because Walmart put out the action figure that had her head.
And its action scenes are better than the Dark Knights because fist fights are not where Christopher Nolan shines.
No,
he does a lot of amazing
but
things.
This is the movie that gives us the Tumbler, which is still to this day many people's favorite Batmobile.
I have never heard anyone say that about the Batmobile and the Batman.
Well, I invite you to visit the internet.
and does it?
Which one of these two movies has the Batmobile on the Warner Brothers tour?
Well, I mean, which
asking about
action figure of the Batmobile has sold more? Probably the animated one.
We're diverting from the actual question, which is the best film adaptation of these characters. And as you said, that Batman: Mask of the Phantasm is an utterly accessible one, even if you only briefly know who Batman is. That's exactly the same argument I'm using for Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman can be shown to anyone, even if you don't know the comic books, and you will have a deeply, fully satisfying experience. That being said, I love The Dark Knight, but as a movie experience, there are some big gaps, there are some dull spots, there are some flat spots, and it's actually not a Dark Knight movie, it's a Joker movie.
It is the movie that remains to date the best-selling and the most celebrated of the three options.
It's a really good heist movie.
Yeah.
It's a really
what
good
more
crime
do you want
thriller.
from a detective comic?
All right, I heard enough. Dan Merle, anything to add, clean up there, fact-checking wise?
I mean, as you would expect from a panel of DC experts, pretty clean round, fact-wise. Mark did talk about the tracking on Wonder Woman, which if you're watching on YouTube on Saturday, you're in the future and you know if you're accurate. But right now, yes, the tracking was upgraded from 55 to 60 now to around $95 million. But again, tracking has been notoriously hard,
it's gonna
unpredictable. So
It's going to. I'm saying from the past, it's going to break 125
I'm saying from the
million.
past. I'm happy to make that bet too.
yeah, but Mark was correct. The tracking on Wonder Woman has it upgraded in the last week since the reviews have come out. That was pretty much the only factual thing that I thought needed some clearing up. So,
Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought DJ had seen it, so it was a little unfair for DJ to not do that. But then I was just hoping DJ would just do some fake news or something and debate based on, I don't know, anything.
Just make up something.
Nightfall's moment there. Just make some stuff up.
The villain in Wonder Woman is just not very good. I'm sorry. Ares, really? Let's do Cheetah.
So it was a little bit. So I will acknowledge I was a little unfair, and I'm sorry I didn't catch that sooner. But that aside, based on the rest of the arguments, I do think I gotta go with, just based on the passion from Mark, who and the punches back. I just heard a little bit. He just overtalked you guys a little bit. I think was the.
But it's because I love the movie.
No, I know,
so
but
much.
I think in the first round jitters maybe of you guys going against a Titan here, I heard a little bit more from him, so that's where I'm leaning there. And so I think going in, I want you guys to fight him harder. But also, I got too many specifics of the turning of the head and stuff. Didn't feel like the biggest of the arguments that could have probably been said for Dark Knight. So and then Massive Phantasm, he sort of got you. There are better episodes of the show. So those sort of things knocked it out. So Mark gets the first point, but it's not over. Let's go to round 2. All right, now this one's going to be a doozy. And to full show our cards, we asked this question to see if you guys would pick your own each ones. I didn't want someone to have to vote their second choice, and you each picked your first choice on this.
That's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Pretty dope.
I want that to be clear. That's why this is in the show, because I didn't want to make one of you fight one that you didn't believe in. So we asked the question.
This is my favorite question now, because I thought.
No, you all
this
picked
is
your own
good.
number ones. And what's interesting is Mark has fought this battle before, and you picked Wonder Woman before. Because they can check that.
Yes, I picked Wonder Woman in the fight.
Yeah, so I'm going to just say it out loud. I'll set it all up. We're going best overall character, Batman versus Superman versus Wonder Woman. Now, best overall character, it's a little vague, so you got to tell me what makes the best character. Why is it Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman? Let's just go down the line. You're picking Wonder Woman? You're picking
Batman.
Batman. So Mark's got Batman. Ashley, you're...
Wonder Woman. I just thought I was going to fight Mark for that one.
And DJ, you pick Superman.
Yep.
Okay, well, Ashley, you get to start. I just want to make sure we all knew who was playing for who.
Sweet.
But Wonder Woman for Ashley, DJ is picking Superman, Mark is picking Batman. Ashley, whenever you're ready.
So Wonder Woman is not only the coolest kid in school right now, but as the DCEU stan, she's the only character that everybody consistently likes. Everybody likes her casting. Everyone who's seen the movie loves her performance. You heard Mark talk about how great that movie is just a couple minutes ago. Even in the comic book, she brings a bit of diversity to the Justice League. She's the only LGBTQIA+ character, which I think definitely deserves some recognition. That's something that could potentially be explored and is very exciting about the way the cinematic universe is going. She's the least bloodthirsty of any of these characters on or off the page. She stands for love. She stands for peace. Yes, she can rip your head off if she wants to, but her rule is typically to try to show people or the animals that she can talk to, because she has a lot of really cool familiars. She's a Disney princess. To show them how they can better themselves by the strength that they carry. That is something that is uniquely feminine, and that is a strength in her that not a lot of the other DC heroes in any incarnation have. Plus, she's the sexiest, she has the best costumes and the best legs, and in a world where we're watching movies that are incredibly visually driven, that can't count for nothing. So Wonder Woman, definitely the best.
All right,
and the best right now.
We'll hear more. Superman, DJ, go ahead.
Superman is the definitive superhero. He's the one, if you have a favorite superhero, you can thank Superman for that superhero existing. He is the one that took pulp heroes into the superhero generation. He's the reason Batman exists. He's the reason Wonder Woman exists, Spider-Man, any and all of them. He's also, of the three, I honestly believe the most well-rounded, because Clark Kent is such a big part of his mythos, and it really humanizes him, and his dedication to wanting to be a person and understand how real people live. Bruce Wayne's a brooding millionaire when he's not Batman, so he's always kind of the same. And then Diana Prince is always underplayed with Wonder Woman. It doesn't factor in very much. I don't know about the new movie, but doesn't really factor into her character, where there's an everyman quality that I think people underestimate with Superman, and makes him incredibly relatable. And you've got to remember, Wonder Woman does add diversity, but Superman's origin, he was created by two poor Jewish kids.
One of whom was Canadian.
That wanted to create a hero that stood up for everything they wanted to stand up for, defend them when they were not defended for. And that ideology is what's inspired characters like Wonder Woman to say, hey, we should have a female version of this. Of course we should, because everybody wants to feel defended, and that's what superheroes represent. That's what Superman represents. And that's why he's the best.
Mark, Batman.
Before I dive into Batman, I do got to say there's a reason why these characters are referred to as the Trinity, because they're all three great transcendent characters. And I agree with both of the things you said about your characters, but the difference between Superman was the first, Wonder Woman was the first woman. Batman is the rare character in almost any genre fiction that can be reinterpreted in almost any different time frame and different way, and it works. The Brave and the Bold cartoon show, the Adam West Batman, the Dark Knight movies, the Tim Burton movies, the Christian Bale movies, the comic books, the Frank Miller versions. You know, they've done Batman Elseworlds where he fought Jack the Ripper. They've done Batman in the Future. His character, there's something primal about his origin that he can be readapted in so many different ways. Superman is always the big blue Boy Scout, and I don't mean that in a demeaning way. Wonder Woman is the Greek goddess. Batman, your son can watch Batman the Animated Series or Brave and the Bold cartoons now, and when he's a teenager, he can watch The Dark Knight, and then he can watch the Justice League movie or the Gotham, the TV show, and all of those different permutations are valid, but they remain faithful to the core of the character. And to have a character in fiction who can be transported into any time frame, any sort of genre, any sort of story, and still remain faithful to the core of that character. And I will argue that Batman's costume is a much better costume than Wonder Woman's. The iconography of Batman, you're too young probably to remember how crazy 1989 was when the Batman movie came out. That's horrifying.
I was alive.
In 1989, before we were so spoiled now by the inundation of all the superhero stuff, Batman, there was just a poster of the logo, and every person bought T-shirts because of they responded to that iconography. I worked in a movie theater in high school. We had people buy tickets to movies that were showing the trailer to Batman, and they would leave after they showed the trailer. This was pre-internet. Yes, I'm that old. Batman is somehow a character that can adapt to whatever the time period is, whatever is involved in the world and the political scene and the personal scene and whatever is going on. The pop culture, the pop art of the 60s, the Batman TV show is hilarious but still faithful to the core. And there's no character that I can think of in any fiction that is that versatile and that adaptable and that transcendent as Batman. That being said, it's a game of inches here, but I think Batman, that facet of him alone, that there are as many different viable versions of Batman as there are people. And I think that's something
Thoughts, guys? Open up the floor.
So I would just argue that Wonder Woman is not who we are in the way that Batman is who every angry 16-year-old wants to be, and Superman is who every farmer from Kansas wants to be. And I love a farmer from Kansas, don't get me wrong. But Wonder Woman is who we should strive to be. She is a goddess. She is above us. She is the best in all of us, and she is what we should strive to be, because she came down from basically what is heaven. Not done yet. And if you're going to argue that she's the female version of Superman, she's not. That is called Supergirl. And Superman is a character who's stuck in the 1940s, who will never transcend being a farmer in Kansas. Yes, I didn't know the Kansas Facts showed up in the 70s on the radio show, but he is a product of the 20th century. He doesn't transcend into 21st century storytelling, which is why there are so many people who will show up to you when you work at a comic book store and tell you that they don't like him. Now more than ever, people are showing up for Wonder Woman. They're fighting for which of her best runs. They're all being reprinted, which is phenomenal. And Diana Prince has been a working professional for her entire life. She's been a spy. She's been a secret agent. She's been a museum curator. She's been an ambassador to the UN. And tiny little spoiler, but not really, in the Wonder Woman movie, she does have a job. So the Diana Prince persona is a working professional in the modern world, as all women have to be.
Those are jobs. Clark Kent is how Superman perceives himself and how he connects to the human condition. Batman doesn't connect with the human condition. When he goes home, he's a billionaire playboy. Like, I don't relate to that. I've never related to Batman.
But you relate to an alien from 5,000 light years away?
I relate to a guy that needs to make rent and wants to make a world a better place and is actively trying to pursue that.
He doesn't need to make rent. He's got a rent-free place in the Arctic Circle.
Or not he has to pay rent. He works for one of the most giant media corporations in the world.
That doesn't mean what it used to.
He's a corporate
Anyway.
shill who makes a very nice paycheck.
Yeah, the New York Times just fired a bunch of people.
And you say he doesn't he doesn't transcend to the 21st century. People still buy Superman comics. Superman comics are selling better than ever, and in fact, his ideals transcend into every superhero ever created. And the problem is that people don't. They try to add stuff to him when the core is so strong. Batman is what was the term you used? He can permutate. in a lot of different ways. But there's something so profound about a character that doesn't need to. That his core is so strong.
But I didn't say Batman needed to be adapted. There's some weird alchemy about the Batman character that allows him to adapt to different stories. Whether it's the Lego Batman or the Christopher Nolan Batman, they're all valid extensions of the original story that Bill Finger with Bob Kane created. And
nice phrasing.
And well, that's the correct phrasing. and I love all three of these characters. These three characters are to us what Greek mythology was to the ancient Greeks and the Roman mythology. These characters are all we all have jobs because these characters exist.
That's very true.
Definitely.
And that's very important to say. This isn't I don't want to slam either one of these other two characters because I love them dearly, but there's something about Batman. Just look at all the different versions of Batman that are out there, and there's one for every single person, and that's something that can't be said.
Wonder Woman has this problem of being a female character, and there is a lack of adaptation for her, so I think it's a little tough to say that Batman, I mean, empirically he does. He has the most adaptations, he has the most versions, comics, TV, movies, whatever. But when you're a female character and who's been portrayed as a character of color for a long time, those aren't characters that people want to make media about. And the fact that she's finally transcending to that, I think, is tremendously important. She's only recently
been portrayed as a character of color.
That's true.
She was a white woman on a Greek island. She's only recently. The casting of Gal Gadot is very powerful because of that. Because she is actually a woman who looks like she's from somewhere in the Mediterranean. So the argument that she's a woman of color and a gay woman or a bisexual woman, that's all very recent.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean it's not valid, but once again, the best overall character, everybody has their own Batman that they love. People love these two characters, but there's one version.
I want to hear more than that because you've hit that point, Craig. But I need more from that. Yeah, go ahead against each other, Wonder Woman and Superman.
Wonder Woman is very important, but I think part of what gives her the space to be that important is, like you were saying, this character was created by two immigrants, and that's the power of the superhero genre is that you get to, and that's why diversity in the superhero genre is so important, because you get to project yourself into these characters that are larger than life and helps you overcome your issues. That started with Superman, and it's an idea that's so powerful that it not only launched a million different types of characters, but it has lasted to this day. That Superman symbol, you can go to anywhere in the world and they will know what that means and they will know what that represents. And it's an ideology that just is as great as Batman and Wonder Woman are, they just can't compete with.
Wonder Woman was created by polyamorous scientists, which is pretty impressive.
Who also
and
created
diverse.
Lie Detector.
Yes, in the 1940s. So I don't think that should be discounted at all. I would also argue that Wonder Woman, in compared to Superman, has more iconography as far as her weaponry. Yes, we know Superman for his powers, but Wonder Woman is a well-trained character. She earned her power, and the lasso of truth is something that is singular to her and that represents her. Maybe it's not as iconographic as the shield with the S inside of it, because it's not the House of L sign, it's a shield, just like Lois says in the movie, it's an S. And I think that is also worthy of her legacy, that she has weapons that we know to define her by, and the movie is going to give her another one.
Well, listen, I grant Batman, because of all his toys, is able to sell a lot of action figures, and Wonder Woman will probably be able to sell a lot of action figures, but I think there's something to be said by Superman not needing weapons and not needing that to be part of his identity. I would say Batman is obviously incredibly popular. Wonder Woman is gaining in popularity and very important, but I think overall, if you take the whole package, Superman not only has the popularity, he has the importance about not just the immigrant story, but about what heroism represents, and he's also the quintessential superhero that all others sprang from, and part of that is not just his powers. In this age of superheroes, we're losing the importance of the secret identity, because that's the part that we connect to. And of the three of them, the secret identity, the part that connects the character to the people, Clark Kent is the most important to Superman. And I think part of what makes him so important, as opposed to equally great characters like Batman and Wonder Woman.
All right, Dan, what do you think here, based on those arguments, thoughts, facts to check?
Well, just factually, a couple things. DJ brought up that Superman sales figures. I was trying to find the latest sales. It looks like currently, and it looks to be a bit of a trend, Batman is easily DC's best-selling character right now as of April. Flash also up there. Superman is actually a little bit kind of in the middle of the pack with Wonder Woman. So if we're going sales figures, Batman is actually kind of leading the DC sales at the current time. Just a little piece of trivia that I've picked up. William Moulton Marston, who was the creator of Wonder Woman, Also invented a key component of what we know as the modern polygraph test,
DJ
which is
actually
weird
brought that
because
up,
the lasso of truth and the
lasso wasn't always the lasso of truth. It used to make you submit to Wonder Woman's orders. The truth part is a 1960s or Silver Age.
Well, that's what I get for trying to bring up trivia. That's what I get for trying to bring up trivia in a DC fight, where I'm obviously out of my element. So never mind. Strike it from the record.
Actually.
So you're Wonder Woman-splaining now.
I am. It's about time.
Hashtag.
Hashtag feminism, hashtag Wonder Woman.
Michael, Sammy, what do you think based on those arguments? I need help here. Those are some strong arguments. I got one I think I'm leaning on, but
I was originally in Wonder Woman's corner, but then DJ brought up the S beats out the Batman shield and that it's international. So I'm gonna go with DJ on this one.
yeah, there was something also. I'm that's where I'm leaning too. There was look. These are all three great characters, all important characters. Wonder Woman, especially right now, and I probably unfairly, but yeah, it's like now is when the Wonder Woman heat is starting to grow, which is great for all of us for that to happen. But it's still like there was something about Superman and the arguments that I heard from DJ of just about the human condition and the ideology we stand for, that define the superhero. The secret identity was another good point you brought in as well. There was and just you can't. His argument back to you about Batman can be all around, but Superman always remains the same to his core. All those things really rang true for me. Just a little bit edge over. Although I was very close because I loved your Supergirl knock back at him was brilliant, and she does have the spy and working agent thing there as well. But there was a slight edge to Superman, so I got to give DJ the point. But it's not over. Here we go. All right, guys. Now we've been so positive. We gotta go a little mean. They haven't all been great. This one came in from IRH at 2001 on Twitter. They want to know, what's the worst DC movie? All of DC movies, not DCEU. We're not picking on them. Any worse? There are a lot of stinkers in this in the category. If you go back through the years, some I forgot about, and we'll see if you guys picked them. DJ, what are you picking? Worst DJ?
Batman and Robin.
Okay. Let's, like we just did the last one, let's go around. Mark?
Superman 3.
Oh, okay. Ashley?
Supergirl.
All bad movies.
Superman 3 and Supergirl. Okay. Back to you, DJ.
Listen.
Oh, wait. What's that say up there, JT? Oh, trick question. What's the actual question? What's the best DC movie? That's right. You have to use your answers and tell us why it's the best DC movie.
Killer timing on the graphics.
Didn't we?
Yeah, there it is.
This question is number the first.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
really.
now really, this is really the best question. The best movie. We don't want to be negative here. We want to be positive here. So now, DJ, you must tell me why Batman and Robin is the best DC movie, even better than Mask of the Phantasm. Ashley, you gotta tell me why Supergirl's better than Wonder Woman. Or Dark Knight, rather. And Mark, why is Superman 3 better than Wonder Woman? Let's hear this for real. This is for all that matters. Now, for those of you who haven't played Trick Question before, you have to sell us. If you try and cheat out here and don't tell me that your movie's the best, you will lose points.
Goodbye, all my notes.
Everyone understand how this works? This was a fan request. DJ, you're up first.
What's this fan's name?
Mark
Several
is gonna
fans, in
find
fact,
you.
I think, suggested this one. DJ, all right, we're going now. Best DC movie, they had to pick the worst, but now they have to tell if it's the best. DJ, Batman and Robin, why is it the best?
Listen, DC movies get a lot of crap now for not being colorful. Batman and Robin does not have that problem, all right? You got all the neon lights. I remember as a kid loving all the neon lights. And if I'm being honest, listen, the Tim Burton movies as a child in the theaters scared me. I'm still traumatized by a penguin biting off that guy's nose. You got none of that in Batman and Robin. You've got fun, campy takes on Mr. Freeze with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Poison Ivy and everybody's favorite Bane. First time he's on the big screen, and it's we don't get enough of Batman and Robin interacting on the big screen, other than maybe the rubber nipples. That Robin costume's really cool. Presaged the Nightwing costume redesign, which is very cool. Chris O'Donnell's still our only on-screen Robin, and
That's a great. And is that a good thing?
And also,
I'm just it's
debatable.
Yeah, you know what? He's a lot of fun. I liked him. I liked him a lot in Batman Forever, and he just continues being himself in Batman and Robin, and
continues
and
being
also
himself.
and also
an acting choice.
like Mark said, Batman is such a versatile character, and he can make almost anything work. And this is a great example.
I want to hear why is it
the versatility and the durability of the Batman.
Well, you don't know if
character.
Batman's a top
When
or
we
a bottom
come-
in
why-
Batman and Robin.
When we come back, I do want to know why is it better than Mask of the Phantasm? Mark, Superman 3.
Superman 3 was the first superhero trilogy. And we're living in an age of diversity, and the co-lead of the movie was Richard Pryor.
Yeah, great.
Which back in the time when that came out, having a black adult comedian in a franchise for families was great. In the classic Superman comics, Superman was split into Superman Red and Superman Blue, and that happens in that great scene in the garbage dump where Superman's fighting Clark Kent. That harkens back to the classic Kurt Swan books of the 50s. The no smoking message, the nicotine and the kryptonite, it was a great thing for kids to prevent them from smoking. How many kids don't have emphysema or lung cancer because of Superman 3? You have the opening sequence, which is like the opening of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. It's that Rube Goldberg thing where things happen and fall. It's great, brilliant physical comedy that Chaplin would be proud of. And it introduces... where's the vodka? And it introduces Lana Lang for the first time on the screen. And
Annette O'Toole.
And Annette O'Toole was so great in the movie that not only she's the only character to play two members of Superman's family, she played his girlfriend in the Superman Chris Reeve franchise, and then she went and played Martha Kent in Smallville. So all superhero movies spring from Superman 3.
Again, we'll come back and I want to hear why it's better than Wonder Woman. Ashley, Supergirl.
All female superhero movies spring from Supergirl. It's the first one that we got. And you know what? Helen Slater stars as Supergirl. You can see her. She's beautiful.
She's very attractive.
She's so good that she's still an important part of the Supergirl mythos to this day. She is currently playing Eliza Danvers, who's Supergirl's mom. She handed off the torch to Melissa Benoist. She heralded in this great TV show because we wouldn't have the TV show if that movie weren't as amazing as it is. If you haven't seen it, she does some tremendous hand acting while she's flying that really makes Supergirl's flight powers elegant in comparison to what we've seen from Superman in his hard edge and Mark's favorite superhero franchise of all time. This also carries on the legacy that Christopher Reeve set down in those movies without needing him. We're not bogged down by a male character showing up instead of letting the female superhero do her job. Supergirl doesn't need any help from Christopher Reeve. Helen Slater has it completely under control. She even gets a scene with Peter O'Toole and goes toe-to-toe with him while they're flying on their way to Earth. This also introduces Lucy Lane, who's an important part of the current Supergirl mythos, appearing in the first season of that show. This is the first time that we saw her, who's Lois's little sister. And the costume looks great. It's probably the best Supergirl costume that we've ever seen, and I completely don't hate this movie.
All right, guys, let's go back. DJ, why is it better than Mask of the Phantasm?
I feel like I'm completely in Bizarre World. Like, I want to, give you points to help. Like, now we're helping each other and we're all in this together.
It's
Listen.
Sophie's choice of a different variety.
Yeah, listen.
This is when she wants both of the kids to be taken
Exactly.
away.
Listen, Batman and Robin has Robin, and he's not. And he's not in Mask of the Phantasm. He's not in Mask of the Phantasm. It has more villains. And it has tremendous actress Uma Thurman. This was George Clooney's one shot at being Batman. Great, and I guess for diversity, he said he played Batman as gay in this movie. So there's that.
Well, it's a Joel Schumacher film, duh.
So,
It sold a lot
right.
of toys. It sold so many toys.
It did. Okay. Mark, why is Superman 3 better than Wonder Woman?
Well, where's the vodka? This is really hard. I wasn't prepared for this. It's better than Wonder Woman because it came out before Wonder Woman.
It did.
Which enabled Wonder Woman to improve upon the door that Superman 3 opened and allowed Wonder Woman to say, oh, this is what you did well, and I'm going to improve upon the brilliant things you did and make them even more brilliant. We had Christopher Reeve playing multiple characters in this movie. He played Superman, he played Clark Kent, he played Clark Kent around Lois, he played nicotine Clark Kent, and he played angry, stubbly Superman in the dirty gray suit. That's 5 characters. That's like Meryl Streep can't do that.
Yeah, Gal Gadot played one.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And once again, in this day and age of nutrition and health issues, it had such a poignant no smoking message in it by making Superman show that nicotine even is bad for Superman. So this movie has saved lives. That's ultimately something that
All
these
right,
other
gotta
two
go
movies
back around
do.
before we all do the free-for-all. Ashley, why is Supergirl better than Dark Knight?
Supergirl is better than The Dark Knight because it actually has some color in it. It's not just a sepia tone movie, which is really lovely. Most of it takes place during the day with the added bonus of being largely set in a girls' school, so you get to see a lot of cute 20-something girls running around in their little Catholic schoolgirls uniform, which I'm sure informed many men about their respective sexualities at the
saw me on
time.
it.
Faye Dunaway informed me on my sexuality, but that's a whole other
And
thing.
she fights a witch.
All right.
There's no magic anywhere in The Dark Knight.
I mean, way better than Heath Ledger's Joker.
10
Witch.
times.
Yeah, okay.
10 times better.
All right. You
Mark's
guys are
gonna
playing hard.
throttle
I
me.
appreciate it. Now, how do you help each other? Why is yours the better? Why is yours the best?
If we're
over
talking
these two?
about colorful movies, easily Batman and Robin is the most colorful. It has the most colors of any of these movies. It has neon. The other movies do not have that. Also, message: steroids are bad. If you take steroids, you'll be like Bane, a blithering idiot with fake arms, and that's with green veins. It's just not good. Also, more iconic villains: Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze,
Yeah, all right.
Bane, Woodrow.
Guys?
He's in there for a minute.
Is Batman and Robin better or worse? I'm confused. Why? Which one's the best here? Is Superman
It's-
3 better
it's
than
Supergirl because Supergirl is the one of these three that I've seen.
I'm sorry. Superman's the one of these that I haven't seen.
Of three horrible movies, mine was the first.
Liz, I'm very glad that you chose Superman 3 instead of 4, because 3 is better than Superman 4.
Which is the one that has the angry drunk in it?
Isn't that anyway, listen, so also Batman and Robin 2, Batgirl, we forgot first on-screen and only live-action Batgirl we've had in a movie.
She doesn't wear the cowl.
She has the mask.
There's
She's
no
Batgirl.
mask.
It's Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl.
She's also blonde, which is incorrect.
And Alfred's goddaughter, which makes zero sense.
Yeah, but and they have to save Alfred, which provides personal stakes. Are there
All right.
personal stakes?
I think
in the
I'm
movies?
just one last final thought from each of you. Now you got to tell me, Mark, why is Superman 3 better than Supergirl or Batman and Robin? Quickly, go ahead.
Because it expands the mythos and it opens up. And once again, we're talking about colorfulness. I mean, the diversity, the risk of taking a fairly white middle class superhero and putting an edgy black comedian in it and committing to that. It was a big deal at the time.
All right, Ashley, why is Supergirl better than Batman and Robin and Superman 3?
Again, it's the one I've seen.
Yeah.
It has a female lead, and it builds on everything that the Christopher Reeve franchise set down, which was incredibly important, making this even more important.
All right, DJ, you sort of already did that. All right.
Yeah.
Dan, how you doing over there? Anything to add? That's hard to add to because they're
One small correction to Mark's argument. While it does not weaken the anti-smoking message of Superman 3, it was actually a tar, not nicotine, that was the corrupting ingredient in the kryptonite in Superman 3. Still a component of the cigarettes.
Tar still causes lung cancer.
Yes, exactly. So it doesn't change Mark's argument fundamentally, just a change of ingredient. It was tar.
All right, fair enough.
That's the best we could come up with for the fact check.
I gotta give you all props. You really tried, but there was one that I thought tried the hardest, and that was DJ. I got a little bit more positivity from DJ.
There's a lot in that movie.
Yeah, you really sold me. And then, even Mark, you stuttered a few times. Ashley, I guess just didn't see the other film, so it was hard for you in the second half, which is a good thing for you. So you really win this round.
I'll just say I think most of them
You
are
have
older
4
than
hours
me.
extra of your life.
Technically, Ashley really wins, but DJ gets the point. All right, number 4. Here we go. This comes in from Bad Wit Usernames on Twitter. He wants to know what DC comic storyline that hasn't already been used would make the best movie. And I think it's coming up on screen. There it is. No, that's not correct. New switcher here,
We'll just
guys.
go to
Sorry.
that and we'll switch.
There
all
we
the
go.
answers.
Bad usernames, a lover of films. He wants to know this, yes. And you also can choose a director. So what DC storyline do you want to see that we haven't seen as a movie? Mark, we're back to you.
Yeah, I chose Grant Morrison's Arkham Asylum and to be directed by David Fincher. Because what's great about Arkham Asylum is it's Batman being locked in the asylum, so you get to use every single one of his marquee villains. And it's also like Batman meets the Raid. It's this enclosed space where Batman has to adapt to being in this asylum. And Fincher's got such a dark, rich visual style that having that Seven look in a Batman movie set, it's basically a haunted house story, the graphic novel, and Fincher gets the weird psychosexual parts of it, and can also do the great visuals and create mood. And it's important that if you've read Grant Morrison's graphic novel that he did with David McKean, Arkham Asylum is not just a location, it's a character. And if you watch every David Fincher movie, every location feels like it's a living, breathing part of the movie. And he would elevate the material. To have a director, an auteur like David Fincher come in to do a Batman movie would be great. And to see him have, this has every marquee character, every villain is in this building, so you get everything that's great about Batman.
Ashley?
So I picked Batman Under the Red Hood, which was adapted to an animated movie, but if we're playing by the rules from our first question and DJ got to pick Mask of the Phantasm, this one did not get a wide theatrical release. It was just released straight to DVD. Under the Red Hood, for those who don't know, is the return of Jason Todd, where he's brought back from the dead for the first time, who was the second Robin who was brutally murdered by the Joker. So it's a great way to incorporate the Joker, who's already a part of the standard DCEU universe. Jason Todd's Robin exists already in the current DCEU. We've seen the Robin suit, we've seen his boots, we've seen the bullet holes in there. A WB tour guide confirmed that is Jason Todd's suit. It's not Tim Drake's, it's not Dick Grayson's, it's nobody else. It is Jason Todd's. And in the Suicide Squad movie, it confirms when you meet Harley Quinn for the first time that she is a murderer of Robin and accomplice along with the Joker. So you have all of the groundwork laid for this to exist. It tells you more about Batman, and it is a true detective story, which is a problem with a lot of the Batman movies that we've seen. We don't see him doing any detecting. We see heist movie like DJ talked about. We see horror movie elements like Mark talked about. This would give you a chance to legitimize Robin, who's an incredibly important part of the DC mythos, tell a detective story, and introduce characters like Nightwing and Barbara Gordon Batgirl, or Oracle if you want to go that way, that we know there are already slots for and movies for in development. Plus, the animated movie is well liked, and Batman Arkham Knight, which is one of the best-selling DC video games of all time, is based on this story, which means there's already an audience who wants to see this writ large.
All right, TJ.
I chose the Brainiac storyline by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank because we've had, I think, like 8 or 9 Superman films, and we have not gotten one of his, maybe arguably his most iconic villain, which is Brainiac. And Brainiac, it would be great to see on film for a variety of reasons. Not only is he incredibly cinematic, but he also adds an interesting layer to a Superman story that we haven't gotten before, because Brainiac is a very alien villain, and so this gives us an opportunity to explore the man part of Superman, which is as a fan of the character, is the part that matters to us fans the most, and have a chance for. We've had a lot of superhero movies where they're like, oh, I don't know, should I stop being a hero? This could be a movie where he explores why he decides to be Clark Kent, what Clark Kent means to him, while he's facing a larger than life villain that forces him to think as opposed to punch his way out of a situation like he did with Zod or like he did with Doomsday. And Superman is always great when he has to think his way out of a situation because he's very smart. It is also a story that included Supergirl, so it would add some diversity to the Superman mythos. We could incorporate Supergirl into figuring out how to stop Brainiac. Elements of that story are also used in the very popular Injustice 2 game. And I would choose Ryan Coogler to direct this movie because he's proven with his movies that he's so good with Creed and Fruitvale Station, that he's very good at finding the human, relatable elements to a character, which I think would really help Superman right now. And while we've had a lot of very successful Batman movies that have explored a lot of his villains, with this we would get to explore new villains, new sides of Superman, new storytelling opportunities that I think would be really good for the DCU right now.
Ashley, did you pick a director?
I did, and I forgot to mention, I picked my fellow Canadian David Cronenberg, because as we've seen with things like History of Violence and Eastern Promises, he does a great job at balancing out emotional beats with great, wonderful choreographed fights and stark violence, which is what you need in something like this. And then there's a good chance that Viggo Mortensen is going to be cast in it, and I'm always down for that.
As Jason Todd?
As whoever you want. I'd take him as Jason Todd, fine.
All right, fight it out, guys.
We've had a bunch of Batman movies. Like I love Arkham Asylum, but we've seen a majority of those villains already in movies, and I think the elements that make that comic special would not be adapted into a feature, even by David Fincher. The other problem with both Fincher and Cronenberg is the movies you pitched would be very R. They'd be very, very R.
Have you seen the DCEU movies? Have
you seen Logan? They do in Deadpool. They do those now,
and they're good.
But Batman is not a character that you can tell our story with him. I would argue that is not the character at his best. I think Wolverine benefits from that. Deadpool can benefit from that. I don't know if Batman does, and I don't know if
he's called the Dark Knight.
But would those movies be better than any of the ones that we've already gotten?
Well,
Yes.
that wasn't the question. The question was what DC comic storyline would you like to see adapted to a film with the director? And so
Would make the best movie.
what would make
And
the best
DJ,
movie?
you've picked a story where the cornerstone emotional moment of it is Pa Kent dying. He's already dead in the current DCEU universe, and people didn't like it very much when that happened. So why would you want to do that? And then essentially make it a redux of Man of Steel, which I love, but is controversial because it's a villain coming down from the sky. Superman fights him. You know, it's not straying far enough or building on the mythos that's already set down.
And you said about Ryan Coogler as the director. Yeah, Ryan Coogler is great with human stuff, but you have a movie with the villain is an alien entity, with no human emotion whatsoever. So that's not going to play to his strengths. And it's going to be a super expensive movie. These are all pretty pricey movies, but your movie in particular, making Brainiac come to life is a lot of money. And I don't know if a studio would give Ryan Coogler $250 million to make this movie.
And you're inviting the controversy of having to recast a very popular TV character. Melissa Benoist's Supergirl is very well loved. People hate that they recast Flash and that it's not going to be Grant Gustin. So I don't know if that's a door that you want to open, casting another girl to play Supergirl.
There's a lot of flexibility in the story, and all these movies are mixtapes. They're not straight adaptations because straight adaptations wouldn't work. I mean, in your version, Jason Todd was shot, and instead of being beat with a crowbar, it looks like he was shot, and we don't know.
You can shoot someone and beat them with a crowbar.
Yeah, and how is he
She's
supposed to come back
Canadian.
from
She
that?
knows that.
And also, I would argue Jason Todd was way better dead. Jason Todd should stay dead. I think he adds more to the Batman mythos dead. And
Red Hood is way better as a villain. He's one of Batman's greatest contemporary
and not
villains.
only does the Brainiac storyline add elements that the DCU does not already have, add stuff to Superman that we've never seen on film before, I think it diversifies the type of storytelling the DCU could do, whereas your movies are more Batman movies. And more of
People like
types
Batman movies.
They do, but we've had them.
But the question,
like
the
more
question
Batman
wasn't
movies than
also
Superman
how does this
movies.
fit into the DC extended universe. This question was what would make the best movie. And this, I believe, Arkham Asylum of all three of these stories is a story that doesn't need great exposition and great explanation. It's Batman getting locked in the asylum with all of his foes, and he can't escape. Your movie. I would love to see the Jason Todd story explored, but it also comes from one of the darkest, most cynical events in comics was the 1-900 number to vote whether Jason Todd lived or died, which is
and
just...
wasn't that spammed too? Wasn't that kind of like rigged by a fan or something? Like
Well,
he
it
had
could have been because you
yeah.
can just redial,
Yeah.
and it was
But
just
it,
kind of
regardless
gross.
of whether it was,
And
it happened.
But it also brings back too if Jason Todd comes back from the dead, it brings magic into the Batman universe. And they brought Ra's al Ghul. Nolan brought him in, and he ignored the Lazarus Pit thing, bringing magic into the Batman universe. Batman is cinematically at least grounded in some reality, even with the gadgets. You bring magic into it, and it kind of upends the apple cart a little and makes it. And there's a lot of deep cuts in the history of your story. You need to. There's so much explanation of before we get to the Red Hood, how he got there, how he's the second Robin, and how he died and how he came back. That I don't know how accessible that is. You're gonna have a movie that is the first 2/3 are going to be explaining to the audience what they're about to see.
I mean, I would also argue with your pick for Arkham Asylum, that's a very cerebral movie. You're asking a lot of your consumers, you're asking a lot of your audience, and I don't know if we live in a world where
it's not cerebral. It's the raid with Batman and his villains. It's Batman fighting his way out of all these crazy people in a
but it's a
controlled
psychological
But
exploration.
actually-
It's a psychological exploration of this character that I don't know if people are ready for. And because people find the graphic novel challenging, in a world where people think that Deadpool's the greatest superhero movie ever made because it has fart jokes in it, I don't know if they're ready for something like this. And I don't know if Fincher can handle the level of CG that's going to be required of him. He does great, beautiful, real-world cinematography, but in order to achieve the visuals, which are a big selling point on that book,
Most of Zodiac is CG.
you're going to ask him to step out of his comfort zone, which might not be something that a studio would want to set their dollars behind.
I think they'd put more money behind David Fincher than Ryan Coogler or David Cronenberg any day of the week.
I think the primary antagonists of both Arkham Asylum and the Red Hood storyline are both the Joker and maybe Harley Quinn, which again we've already had. Which, by the way, we're talking about Jared Leto's Joker, which was not, however we all feel, was not very well received. So we're talking about more of that in Arkham Asylum and in the Red Hood, and so it's more of what we've seen done really well. Like The Dark Knight's a really great movie, and so now you're like, let's compete with that as opposed to doing something very different, something we've never seen before.
Why not build on something that people already love?
They don't love Jared Leto's Joker.
They love The Dark Knight, so why not make this universe's Dark Knight?
If you
you just make the comparison between the two, I'm more than happy
And
to.
also we've had a lot of, like, Red Hood is just an anti-Batman with guns, which we have The Wrath, we have Hush,
none of whom are in the cinematic universe, and none of whom would be in this movie.
know of, but they might be better choices than Jason Todd.
So Superman's fighting an alien. We have Zod, who he fought in the first movie that not many people liked. All of his villains are aliens. You have Mixie, who's magic alien.
I'd also argue again that a lot of elements from this arc that I'm choosing were used in the
Doomsday?
Injustice 2 video game that's being very well received.
Many of mine are from from the Arkham series, which is the greatest selling DC video game franchise of all time.
But then you're citing the Injustice video game as inspiration for your movie, and Injustice is definitely an R-rated video game. And then you're talking about
it's rated T. It's
yes,
rated T.
okay.
Oh, please.
rated T,
Are you
I'm
giving that
just
to a
saying.
5-year-old? No, you're not.
And just a bit of a side trivia that Dan can verify. Brainiac was actually the villain in Superman 3, and they couldn't afford it, so they made it that woman and Richard Pryor.
And Richard Pryor.
Cigarettes. Yeah.
Listen, we already had that fight, okay? and again,
Can you imagine that movie? God, what I would give to watch that Brainiac version from that era.
It might be
It would
palatable.
have been Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
Don't. It's just anyway. I can't. Arkham Asylum is a fantastic graphic novel. Grant Morrison is one of the all-time greats. The movie you're pitching is not that, though. It is not The Raid with Batman.
I am absolute. That is exactly what it is. There's lots of psychology stuff in it with Batman and the villains, but the book is Batman is trapped in Arkham Asylum and all his villains are freed from their cages. That is what Arkham Asylum is. And that to me is a movie. That's an easy sell to people. You get the best of all Batman worlds because you put Batman at odds. He doesn't have his gadgets. He doesn't have anyone helping him. And he's got his great rogues gallery, the best rogues gallery in all of superheroes and maybe in all fictional heroes. There's 12 or 13 villains. Yes, we've seen the Joker and Poison Ivy, but there are so many other villains that appear in Grant Morrison's book that we've never seen before. And the depth on the bench of the villains in that movie, that alone you're going to get people to see and be excited
Using
about.
your final
the movie-
thoughts. Ashley, go ahead. Final thoughts.
I would say Arkham Asylum is tough because Batman is not his villains, and you're trying to sell a movie on his villains. I'm trying to sell you a movie and a pitch on Batman and his family, and also half of the characters that are set up as important villains in Arkham are currently benched for the Suicide Squad.
But
And
we're not, the question wasn't how does this fit in the DC extended universe. That's not the question. If that
that's
would
fine.
have changed our
That's
answer.
the argument I'm making. You can reject it. It's fine. We can still be friends at
It's
the
a
end
fair
of the
argument.
day. DJ, nobody wants another Superman movie where he fights aliens.
But again, it's not fighting aliens. It's not like Zod where it's a big
He's
punching
an
match. It's
alien.
not like Darkseid where it's a big punching match. It allows you a situation that Superman is rarely allowed to where he has to think his way to defeat an enemy that is supposed to be one of the smartest beings on the planet. And it allows you an opportunity to really explore avenues in the Superman mythos that we haven't seen before, which I think there's value in that, especially in an age where we're getting Wonder Woman, we're getting The Flash. We want movies that push what a DC movie is in new directions.
Does The Flash have a director right now?
Define our
Zemeckis.
characters in new and interesting ways, and we want something that brings interesting things out of the characters. And so this is an opportunity to explore again Superman the man, because he's facing something that's not just another Kryptonian, it's not just a mindless monster, it's something that forces him to contend with what it means to be on Earth and to consider himself part of humanity.
All right. And Dan, can you fact check that? Is Robert Zemeckis in talks?
I
or
heard
is
that
he a
Robert
front-runner?
Zemeckis was taking meetings.
Oh, he's taking
and
meetings.
in
That's what it
talks
is.
to
He's in
direct
talks
The
or
Flash.
I can't remember.
He took a meeting, but he's not in talks. But he is.
Which means he wants an extra zero added to that check.
He's a
Yeah,
front
he wasn't
runner,
in
but he's
talks,
not
he was-
negotiating.
Yeah, that's right. Oh,
Yeah.
God, that's
Oh,
so
boy.
stupid.
Yeah, they all had lunch together.
Dennis O'Neil gave an interview way back when saying that he had heard that the 1-900 Jason Todd line had been rigged by somebody against. It was a very close vote, but there's no evidence. And Mark, Superman 3, Ilya Salkind originally wrote a treatment that included Brainiac, Mr. Mixaplex,
And Gene Wilder, is that real?
No, I would just make that up
was
because it was
amazing.
prior.
I wish, yeah.
and also
Would've been
Supergirl,
into that, though.
who we were talking about, but apparently Warner Brothers turned it down. They didn't like it, so they went
But they
to...
used some of the production art for that pitch in the bill
They had the
when that woman
supercomputer
becomes the
and-
computer thing at the
And
end.
there, of course, have always been fan theories and rumors that Richard Pryor's character Gus Gorman was Brainiac in some sense of the word, and so yeah, there were shades of Brainiac in Superman 3.
How about
but-
Richard Pryor's Mixpitalik?
Yes,
That would have
please.
been awesome.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
in a purple suit.
Anything else?
Factually, no.
All right. This was tough because I actually wouldn't mind seeing all three of these, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I mean, I think there was... it came down to 2 points. I want to see Batman be a real detective, and I don't want to see more aliens. I've seen him fight aliens. So those two stuck the most to me from Ashley, so Ashley gets the point!
Yay, thank you.
And it does fit the best. While that's a point, it wasn't really the question. She did a good job of that one's actually teed up that could work. So there we go.
I would greenlight Marks at my studio.
Yeah, I would watch them all.
I'd watch them all too. We're fighting. We're not enemies.
It's
yet.
fun. It's fun.
All right, here we go. Round 5. This is it. The last point. DJ, you're already into the speed round, so congrats.
Oh.
Mark and Ashley, you guys need a point to get into the speed round against him. Here we go. This one comes from Stark S. Adam on Twitter. The question is, of all the movie Batmans, which one would win in a fight? Pitting the Batman against each other. Who wins? Ashley, you're first.
I am picking the Adam West Batman because the Adam West Batman has a gadget for everything. We all know the joke about the shark repellent bat spray. You can think that's silly. It works. He gets out of every jam by being able to pull something out of his pants. And yes, that means failing having a gadget. He will dance at you until you sleep with him. He's got a really nice manner, so you're just going to want to go and stay the night anyway. He has Robin and Batgirl, who are very capable per the rules of this universe, to back him up if he needs that. And failing that on Harriet would seduce Keaton in minutes, and Batfleck would be so taken aback he wouldn't even show up to this fight. Adam West was the first Batman. He's the silliest Batman, which means that he is the most off the rails, and he could do the craziest thing to undermine anything that the other two Batman could throw his way.
Yes.
Maybe even a bomb.
So to clarify, you're picking Adam West in his prime in the Batman 66 movie.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Or the current animated universe, that's fine too.
Okay. But yeah, just make sure we know which movie Batman you're picking.
Yes.
Great. DJ.
Batfleck. I mean, he's literally twice the size of these other Batmen. He's also the most brutal Batman in movies. He's also gotten the best Batman fight scene in any Batman movie ever. Whatever you think about Batman v Superman, that scene at the end where he's kicking ass is kick ass. Like, it's great. He would eat the other Batman for breakfast, hands down.
All right, Mark.
I'm going with Michael Keaton because Michael Keaton's Batman and Bruce Wayne are today, I think, the best version of both of those characters because you believe that Michael Keaton is so scarred by the death of his parents that instead of enjoying being a multi-billionaire, he would spend all his money on doing this crime-fighting thing. There's a torment to him and a fire in him that I don't see in Christian Bale. Christian Bale's character, his Batman's just kind of a thug who depends on everyone else around him to make his gadgets. Ben Affleck's character is just so broody and so midlife crisis and just so angry that I think that his anger is what his engine. I don't think there's a lot of intelligence there because he didn't figure out things like the white Portuguese in the movie. He's not the smartest Batman. And technically, Adam West isn't a movie Batman. He was a TV Batman first, and then they made a movie out of the TV show. So I don't know if that's splitting hairs, but it's if we're going to say that my Batman, that Arkham Asylum couldn't exist because of the DC Extended Universe, technically he started out. There were 2 seasons of the TV show before the movie.
So it counts.
I just think that Michael Keaton is the most fully realized versions of both Batman and Bruce Wayne, and I believe that he would have the intelligence, and I believe that he's the most active participant in being Batman of any of the Batman.
All right, now fight this out, but play out the fight for me. How is it going to go down?
So it's
all
just so clear.
Adam West has to do is get behind either of these guys because they can't turn their heads. Neither of them can move above the shoulders. So if he gets behind them and sneak attacks, anything, again, he's got a fondness for bombs.
All our
He
Batman
can
has to do
drop
is
it.
chase him. That Batman's got a bigger gut than I do. He's
And-
going to run for 5 yards and fall over with emphysema.
And we can team up to take down Batfleck because all you gotta do is say Martha and he's broken.
Listen, that was a very specific context. It's context. If you
Safe
saw him
word.
take down, if you saw him taking down those 12 guys at the end
They
of
all
Batman
had the
v
same mother with
Superman,
the same name.
And if you've seen any of those Batmen without their shirt on, clearly one's doing the workouts to make sure he's in peak physical condition.
That's arguable. There's talk that there was some CG on him, like there was in the 300 guys when he's turning over truck
Also,
tires.
if Adam West seduces Kim Basinger onto the set, Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne is gonna break right out of the Batman persona because he pursues her so hard he forgets to be Batman,
Also-
and you could just take him out, kick him in the knees.
And let's be honest, Batfleck's not messing around. He murdered some people in Batman v Superman, and so he's not pulling his punches. And he's got the brass knuckles on his gloves. You're done. You're done.
He's a brawler. Of these 3, Michael Keaton's Batman is the smartest that would be using detective skills and using his gadgets and stuff. In pure physical strength, yeah, of course, Ben Affleck is physically stronger, but he's just so consumed by anger and just wanting to punch shit. There's no cleverness, there's no mystery, there's no thought process. He just wants to beat the shit out of something, and that might work in an enclosed space. But as far as being able to strategize, Michael Keaton of these 3 is the one that has the
All
strategy.
Adam West has to do is let you two thugs go at each other, watch from above, and again, drop a bomb, drop a Robin, drop a Batgirl, drop a Catwoman, drop any of the Rogues Gallery. He's got the biggest Rogues Gallery. Pick him up, throw him over, and you guys are dead.
Can you give me one good fight either of your Batmen have been in?
All of them.
Like,
The Biff Bam Pows are iconic beyond measure.
like,
Come on.
they couldn't even take on Green Hornet and Kato, man. Like,
Which version?
In the
Seth
Batman
Rogen doesn't run that
66,
fast.
in the Batman 66, they had their crossover. He couldn't beat him. Bruce Lee wouldn't allow it to happen.
Yeah, Batman,
Well,
Returns.
Bruce Lee's not
Batman Returns. There's the great fight at the very beginning when he rescues Selena Kyle. When the clown's got the taser to her, and the guy shoots. Batman shoots his tether, and the guy says, "Oh, you missed." And Batman's like, "No." And he pulls the wall out and knocks the guy out. He's thinking 2 steps ahead of everyone else. All Ben Affleck does is goes to Equinox and then gets pissed and takes a protein shake.
If he pulled that wall onto Ben Affleck, he would shrug it off. That man's a mountain, and his costume can take bullets. I don't care what gadgets you're throwing at him.
So does Michael Keaton's costume. They shoot him in the chest.
They shoot Ben Affleck in the head. They fire like 3 rounds.
That's
into
why
his
he
mouth.
can't
Did they
take
shoot
any-
Adam West?
Adam West can dodge the
Yeah,
bullets.
they shot some cheese whiz for
Usually-
craft service for
usually
him,
when they
but there was
shoot-
no actual shooting.
Adam West is also the luckiest Batman. If he's shot at, if he's tripped up, if he's punched, kicked, thrown, anything, he always has a nice pile of boxes to land in, some water, or he falls right into the Batmobile. You cannot keep this guy down. He cannot be maimed.
But both of our Batman at least have armor. He's not
Yes,
even wearing
that
that.
is true.
He doesn't need
He's
it.
not even wearing an athletic supporter in that TV show, so he's going to get kicked in
And
the
Mark
nuts, and it's
loves
going to
it.
be done.
Did you see how long it took him to climb up the side of a building in those shows? Like our Batman are just
He
He's
was-
whizzing
going to get
around.
winded going to the
He was
Batmobile.
looking after Robin because he's the only one who cares about the members of the Bat family, the only one who's not let one of his sidekicks get murdered or hurt.
And also, our Batman have the better vehicles. Like we both have Batwings. I would argue Batflex is better because it was able to fly on its own. Alfred was able to fly it.
Once again,
also,
Alfred
it
should
has,
just
not
because
be
Batman
flying
wasn't
your
smart enough.
Batwing.
Batman
also,
wasn't smart
he
enough to
has
fly a
his
plane.
gadgets. He has his gadgets. He has his smoke bombs. He has his batarangs that are huge.
That
and
are
would
all-
slice off an arm.
Does
That
he
are all
have
made
shark
for him.
repellent bat
That are all
spray?
made for him by other people. Michael Keaton is an active Batman in generating his own arsenal.
So is
Ke-
Adam West.
Michael Keaton was able to literally rip off his own mask with his bare hands, and Batflex
But
was able to
somehow
stop
his
bullets.
eye makeup also came off at the same time.
Hey, listen, you're attributing a lot of magic from your universe. You've got the Biff and the Pals, and they're bringing in all those people. I'm
great.
saying Batfleck does not. I'm not saying he's the best Batman. I'm just saying in a fight, he's the Batman
In
I
a
would bet
brawl,
on.
he would win. In an actual
that's
fight
not
that
what we're
requires
talking
strategy, Michael Keaton is by
Well,
far
here,
the
all right,
smartest.
because it's a little all over the place, and I'm having trouble to pin this down. Your last closings here. It is who would win in a fight. They're in a fight. Who's gonna win? Lay me it out. Last time, Ashley. Why is Adam West gonna take down Batfleck and Keaton in a fight?
Because Adam West is kind of an old man, and nobody who has a good moral center, as both of you are claiming, is going to hit an old man in the face.
Listen, Batfleck clearly
And then
doesn't.
what happens? So when they don't hit him in the face, what does he do?
He bombs them, of course.
Okay. Listen, the Batfleck clearly does not have the best moral center. He's willing to fight dirty. He's willing to fight to the death, and he is of the Batman on the table. He's in the peak physical condition. He's also had the best on-screen fight that, yes, also includes gadgets, and he was able to strategize. And he has kick-ass vehicles with so many guns.
Well, we were talking about a fist fight.
Well,
Again,
it's a
fist fight. If you're talking about fist fights,
You're
best
using your bombs.
best fist fight on camera. Easily the best Batman fist fight on camera.
Once again, you're saying that your Batman, that the Adam West Batman wouldn't injure people and hasn't lost a sidekick and is protective of his family, and then he's going to use bombs on us. So that's kind of a little bit of cognitive dissonance there.
I love how serious Mark just took it.
and then these are important issues, Andy. This is more
We
important
can't
than the
fight
Paris
about
Accords.
Batman. What can we fight about?
And physically, your Batman is the strongest. But once again, in a fist fight, probably he's going to win just on the force. But he's so blinded by consumed by his rage that anyone that has any moments of strategy or thinking can outwit him because he's just consumed by that emotion. And while that's the physical strength is there, Michael Keaton's Batman is a Batman who's always thinking about the next steps and always thinking about things. So he would be able to figure out a way to defeat him using a brain.
Wow. All right. Three different things here. I need the couch to help me on this one because this one is actually probably the toughest one yet. Dan, though, anything to clean up before we make a decision together?
Factually, no. I think that I was looking at the Batman and Robin
nerd is
versus
strong.
Green Lantern and Kato fight from the '60s. It was a fight. It ended up what I anticipated to be a bit of a draw.
It was definitely a
but
fight.
there were no clear victor. But they were each giving as well as they got.
Michael and Sammy, what do you think based on those arguments? Where are you leaning?
I think Ashley had the most creative, but Ben Affleck is a badass and he just takes names. So I'm gonna go with DJ.
Dan, what were you thinking?
I don't know. It's very hard for me, it's between but DJ made a great point about the kind of invulnerability and
Yes.
strength of his choice.
So many guns. No moral center.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's Batman, right?
Yeah.
But
But yeah, Ashley's very creative with hers as well.
I'm very creative, but for me, again, if it comes down to the fight aspect, and for me, it would be between strength and strategy. And so I actually
Strength or strategy?
I think that I would go towards strategy, personally.
I'm
if
gonna
it
have
were
to
me.
second that. I'm with the strategy as well. You gotta have some brains. You gotta have. You can duck a fist. You can outsmart somebody.
You can duck a pow.
This is true. This is
Only
true.
in theory. The POWs mean that you've made contact.
Yeah, here, you know what? You guys are swaying me too, because I didn't hear any. They never really combated how they could take out the strategy of Michael Keaton. Because yes, you won't hit a man and you pow me with the bombs and the guns, but you made the point that he'd be 3 steps ahead of that, so they'd probably already be blown up before it got to that point. So I got to give Mark the points.
I messed up. I should have brought up the fact that he spends half that movie preparing for a fight with Superman and is able to take him down. I screwed up. I screwed up.
He took
I screwed
down
up.
Superman.
He
He beat
beat Superman, and he used
That would've been the clip. That would've been
strategy
the
to
death
do it.
clip.
But I would have countered by saying, why would he make dust bombs instead of kryptonite brass knuckles?
That's fair. That's fair.
But there we go. All right, but Ashley, what a game! Ashley, thank you for doing this. You're gonna
Thank you.
You were gonna help decide the winner here. You're gonna help me judge this last speed round here.
speed
You
round.
better be nice
and
to
DJ,
me.
here we go. You guys will each get 20 seconds and then 10-second rebuttals. You both have done this. You know how to do it. Let's get to it. Cue the speed round music. And here we go. Number 1. Who gives the best ever performance as Bruce Wayne?
Michael Keaton.
Batfleck.
Interesting. Okay. It's the same argument, but now we're arguing about Bruce Wayne. Difference, not Batman. All right, Mark, I heard you first. Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton plays the torment of a guy who suffered a deeply impactful loss as a childhood and feels extreme guilt about that. He also plays a guy who's juggling these things with all the aspects of his life, with wanting to have a relationship but not wanting to bring a woman into his life for fear that they will be injured. The scene alone in Batman Returns with him and Michelle Pfeiffer dancing, and she says, "Don't we have to fight now?" is more emotionally deep than anything.
DJ.
Batfleck doesn't just have the rage, he doesn't just have the torment, but when he's flirting with a woman, you can tell that's not just an act. Like, that's him really enjoying the Bruce Wayne aspect. Like, I see Ben Affleck and I see a billionaire playboy. If we're arguing the best Bruce Wayne, that's the first time where I've really bought into the billionaire playboy aspect of the character.
Mark, 10 seconds when you're ready.
Yeah, I didn't think Batman. I don't think Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne enjoyed anything in that movie except blowing things up and fighting. Batman. Michael Keaton gets laid a lot in these Batman movies. He enjoys the playboy aspect of it.
He had a sweet comment with like nice shoes and everything, and also he portrays the physicality, and it's a layered performance. You've got the rage, you've got the flirtatiousness, you've got the drive.
All right, Ashley, based on their arguments, where are you thinking?
I'm thinking Batfleck.
What did you hear from DJ that swayed you?
I like the fact that he did mention the rage and some of the things that he's been criticized on, but that on top of that, we layer in the personal side and the seduction.
Guys on the couch, what do you think?
Going Michael Keaton on this one. Yeah.
Going against the grain. Dan?
Playing along in my head, as I often do on the couch here, I was thinking that I would have picked George Clooney because I thought that, personally, I would have argued that he did the best at portraying Bruce Wayne, the mask, the character, and I feel like DJ articulated that really well in his argument on Bruce Wayne. Is he's not just the rage and the torment, he's also the persona of Bruce Wayne, and so I side with DJ.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was tough, but because I'm on the fence, I'm gonna let the
Well, we didn't ask her yet.
majority rule.
Personally, I would say Lego Batman.
That's fair. You know what? That's a good argument. That's a good argument.
I will roll with what was put on the table. I'm gonna have to go with Ben Affleck as well because he does have the persona, the kind of playboy feel.
There you go. So you're out, Mark. See, it didn't matter what I said. Majority rules. DJ gets the first point. All right, here we go. Best Superman movie.
Superman 2.
Superman.
All right. You both had time there to think about it. Superman, Mark? No, you said Superman 2.
Superman 2.
Soup 2, Mark, you're first.
Superman 1 is groundbreaking, but Superman 1 suffered from the fact of making Lex Luthor a buffoon, and there was never a legitimate real threat in the movie. Superman 2 opened it up and brought Superman face to face with villains who are his same race, who he is an equal to physically. And it also expanded upon the Clark Kent, Lois Lane, Superman triangle when he reveals his identity to her. There was so much human stuff in it.
But where we really build the relationship is in Superman 1. That's what introduced a majority of the world to the character and made our most iconic Superman, which is Christopher Reeve, and we got that great origin story, which is what made every superhero movie since then think they need to be an origin story.
Didn't use all his time. Wow, that's ballsy. 10 seconds.
I think that Superman 1 is a great movie, but I think Superman 2 expands the mythology and expands the world, and the use of the cosmic villains in Superman 2 showed that we could go and not make these movies low-budget sci-fi trash that they were in the 50s and make big, epic movies.
But that started with Superman 1 and the idea of taking that seriously, and also had the balls to kill off Lois Lane at the end, which, it went back, but audiences were shocked by that, and so it did a lot of different things that...
All right, you got to keep your mouth shut there, Mark. Come on.
And technically, this is one big movie.
Technically, that's true. That is true.
Superman 1 and Superman 2 are
that is
two
true.
halves of the same movie.
Based on those arguments, Ashley, what do you think?
I'm always really swayed by the one that did it first, so I gotta go Superman.
Dan.
I actually was kind of swayed by Mark's arguments of 1 is groundbreaking, but 2 expanded it, and he was up against villains of his own type. So actually, I'm going to go with Mark.
What do you think, too? You too.
I was gonna go Superman because they killed off Lois Lane. I thought that was and then Punch.
Yeah, but I like the cosmicness of opening up the world.
Kneel before Zod.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Mark on that one. I'm gonna tie that up. We're tied. Here we go. Now, keeping in mind, they can't use their powers or gadgets or resources. Clear?
Okay.
What DC character would you want to be stuck in an elevator with for several hours?
Superman.
They can't use their powers?
Can't use their powers, gadgets, or resources. Which hero do you want to be stuck in the elevator with?
Batman.
Okay. Let's hear why. DJ.
Superman is a regular guy. You can talk to him about things. He's also well informed because he's a reporter. But he's also has a super fast alien mind and is filled with information from all his adventures across the world. You'd have endless stories to spend your time in that elevator with, and you could get some. He's had great relationships. You could get great relationship advice from him.
Mark?
Well, I have no desire to spend hours upon hours in an elevator with anyone unless it's Henry Cavill Superman, but you didn't say that, so that doesn't count. But the Batman would be able to figure out a way to get out of there because Batman has actual real-world mechanical applications and life experience, whereas Superman, without his powers, we've seen what happens when he doesn't have his powers. He gets punched in the face in that diner in Superman 2 and passes out when he sees his own blood.
Even if you took away the powers and the super fast mind, he's still a well-read reporter. He's still a fantastic writer. He still had amazing experiences that he could share with you, and he's still a dude. Like, I can't imagine having a conversation with Batman.
It's not a conversation. It's how do we get out of this goddamn elevator the quickest? Do you want to spend hours in an elevator?
With Superman, yeah.
Okay.
All right. I think Mark didn't really fully answer the question right. He got stuck on Batman's. But he have no gadgets. The question is, who do you want to be stuck in the elevator with?
Assuming that you want to get out of the elevator,
Yeah,
not spend a vacation
of course,
time in
but
it.
that wasn't the question. So I'm leaning there on DJ just on. But unless you guys can sway me, what do you think, Ashley, based on their
I
arguments?
can't believe that neither of you just picked someone you wanted to make out with in an elevator, because that's what I would
Should
have
have picked Henry Cavill. And he didn't say which.
I actually, my argument would have been very similar to Mark's, because I would have picked Robin for that same reason, because we've seen him break in and out of elevators. We've seen Batman break in and out of elevators, so I gotta go to Mark.
I was okay being stuck.
Dan, what do you guys think?
I would have gone with DJ. I think you brought up an interesting thing, is like Superman's breadth of experience.
Yeah.
When am I going to get a chance to talk to someone that's been to another planet before? So,
All that relationship
Yeah.
advice.
Because he's so good with women.
No, it was more of his adventures, and
Yeah.
Batman's just going to tell me about how depressed he is.
Well, he's just going to try and get out of the elevator, and per the rules of the question, he's not going to be able to. It's just going to be a frustrating...
So I would go with DJ personally.
What do you guys think? Do you agree?
Yeah, I would love to hear the Superman stories.
All right, DJ, you get it.
Superman stories for the win.
All right.
He's dated Lana Lang and a mermaid. You can
This
have
is...
good.
oh, wait. Okay, here we go.
Lori Lamaris.
All right, here we go.
Never first name.
Aside from Deadshot and Harley Quinn, who is the best member of the Suicide Squad?
Amanda Waller.
I have an asterisk for that. Are we talking about the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a fair question.
It's right here, guys.
And I was just reading this today. I would say Katana.
Okay. Great. I will hide my. Sorry, I didn't mean to show my cards there. I'm open to the argument. Okay, Katana, Amanda Waller. We'll accept Amanda Waller. She's technically part of the squad, right?
She's the boss.
She's the head of the squad.
Yeah, that counts, right?
It's up to you. You're the judge.
She owns the franchise.
She's
not a
she's
worker.
in the group shot.
So's the Joker.
If you need me, I'll pick another. I'll pick
Well, I
another.
mean, I don't want the commenters to flip out. Dan, what do you think? Mikey, what do you think?
Yeah, he's got an argument, so he clearly wants to say something.
All right, let's try it.
That's good.
Let's try it.
Go start with me.
Yeah.
Listen, Amanda Waller, you have a movie filled with murderers and monsters, and Amanda Waller is easily the scariest person in that movie. She is the one that's able to rein in these people, bring them in. She's the one with the plan. She's also the only person that will stand up to Batman and talk him down and make him look like a wuss. And that doesn't matter in that movie. She does it in every other incarnation. She does it.
Mark?
Katana has the least dialogue in the Suicide Squad movie, so thus she has the least bad dialogue in the movie. She is a presence with her silence and her powers, and she has the best weapon. Her sword will take your soul, so she is arguably the most powerful member, even more than the Enchantress in that group.
All right, DJ?
Viola Davis is amazing in that movie. She really sells the weight of it, and she's the one in charge, and she's the one that all of those scary people will cow down to.
10 seconds.
Katana is a loyal warrior who has an emotional connection to what she's doing. Amanda Waller's plan in the movie is to create a squad because she unleashes the Enchantress to rescue her, but if she never unleashed it, it wouldn't have happened. She's not a very good leader.
Well, that's true. Ashley, what do you think based on the arguments?
I like both those characters and I like both those actors, but I gotta go Katana. I thought Mark's made some really interesting points.
Oh, see, I didn't. I thought you were starting going jokey, like, because they literally.
Well, I started going jokey, but she legitimately had that.
I wish you had kept going jokey, because this is Katana. She's got my back. I would not advise being killed by her. Her sword traps the souls of its victims.
Yeah.
If you had hammed in on that, I would have been so. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I would go with Katana.
Really? Based on why? What?
Based on Mark's fourth wall breaking argument of least dialogue in the movie, but also I felt like DJ's argument was just that Amanda Waller was mean, and Mark's was like she's loyal, she's gonna have your back. That's one of the things we know about Katana.
She does have your back.
Has your back. So I actually think Mark made a better case about why she's a better part of the team.
Hey, it's true. She's got her back. Mark, you're on it still. Here we go. This is the last question.
So we're tied at 4-4.
We are tied.
Okay.
My backup would have been El Diablo.
Let's see. All right. Best Joel Schumacher directed Batman villain.
Riddler.
Poison Ivy.
Okay. Ice to see no one picked Mr. Freeze.
I can't believe no one picked him.
All right, DJ, for the win here, Riddler, and then Mark's Poison Ivy. Go ahead when you're ready.
Riddler fits the tone of that movie better than any of the other Joel Schumacher villains. He really embraces the camp of that, and he was smart enough to channel in Frank Gorshin, who's the character, the person that made Riddler famous to begin with. So he not only provides an iconic take, he's the one thing that you would remember about that movie and love.
Mark.
Uma Thurman is playing Poison Ivy as a seductress and playing it as a 40s sort of vamp and embracing the Schumacher sensibility, and is one of the few things in Batman and Robin that works because she gets the joke. She's playing Mae West as a seductress and as a villain, and is the only one that seems to have read the script and figured out what kind of movie they were actually making, including the director. She's the one thing that rings true in that movie.
I want to hear you each attack the other one in this closing, because you get good, strong openers, but okay.
I have a very memorable... I remember Jim Carrey's Riddler very well. I don't remember anything Uma Thurman did in that movie, and I had to argue how great it was. And so I love it. And I think every other villain got crushed by the Joel Schumacher machine, and Riddler didn't.
Jim Carrey in that movie is so frustrating. It's every quirk he's ever done in one ugly package, including. And the only thing I remember about him in that movie really is that awful rhinestone costume he had at the end, which is too gay for even me.
Wow. All right, Ashley, based on the arguments, what do you think?
I think DJ did a really good job explaining the depth that I don't believe actually exists in that character.
Good point. Let's go to the couch. Michael, what do you think?
I would have gone Riddler, but I feel like Mark made a better argument. So.
What was it about the argument?
That he. Let me collect my thoughts.
Dan, it's hard, right?
That's
why I'm asking.
I think they both made the same opening argument, which is that both of these characters knew which movie they were in. And I think that's kind of what they both said at the beginning. So
Yes.
I'm glad that you kind of had them attack. So it's really who had the stronger attack on the other
Yes.
one. And I feel like Mark maybe had a stronger hit back at DJ. So I think I would go with Mark, but it's very close.
Sammy, chime in.
I'm gonna have to go with Mark on this one. I agree. I think he had the stronger attack back, and I agree with the character. She's more mysterious. She took ownership of her role, and you can do more things with her than the Riddler because people kind of can buy into her seductiveness and her mysteriousness.
Yeah, she was a vamp. She knew what movie, but you both made the point, and Tashley's right. DJ made me think more than was there, but yeah, that's a fair point. The attack back was stronger from Mark. I think that's the slight edge to give Mark the point in the win.
You can keep the hat now.
Keep it. That was
tough. This was a fun one. You guys were both.
Wow, bravo. I want to give you all lots
do
of
it again
props
for
and
Justice
plugs.
League.
Oh, yeah.
Come back, round 2. Mark Andraco at Mark Andraco on Twitter. What else you got going? Anything you want to plug?
Batman 66, Wonder Woman 77 is wrapping up the last issue, and then the hardcover collection will be out in August. And Love is Love has broken the $200,000 mark of donating money to the victims of Orlando. And we're doing 7 foreign editions that will give money to local charities in different countries around the world.
Bravo, dude. Good
and it's
work.
still available on Amazon.com and your local comic book store.
I love it. Ashley V. Robinson on Twitter. What do you like to plug here?
Also, Love is Love because I have a page in it and it's for an amazing cause. Go listen to the Geek History Lesson podcast, geekhistorylesson.com, and pre-order my creator-owned comic book series at jupiterjet.backerkit.com.
Love it. Go support. And DJ Woolrich at DJ Talks Trash on Twitter.
Also Love is Love just because it's dope. And also you check out my podcast, Only Stupid Answers with Sam Basher, everywhere podcasts are listened to.
Oh, nice. Everywhere, huh?
No.
And we will all be doing an audio version of the Suicide Squad movie novelization.
Let us know in the
Do it
comments
somewhere.
if you
We
would
wanna
like that.
Dan Merle at Merle Dan, Dan's Labyrinth every Monday, 4
Every
p.m.
Monday, yeah, we'll be talking Wonder Woman on Monday. We'll see how those box office numbers come in. I think it's going to be pretty. We'll see. Triple
think it'll be
digits,
good.
maybe. We'll see. I don't know.
Michael and Sammy, thank you for coming. Hope you had fun.
We
Thank
had
you
a
for helping
blast.
here.
I had a blast. You guys are great to watch. If you're ever in
guys let us do
Kentucky,
this,
let
so.
me know. I'll give you a tour around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Done. And thank you all at home for watching. We will see you next week with this is the championship finals.
Yeah.
The winner of this will go on to face Mr. Madman Merle over there. JTE, Movie Mance, and Mike Carlson. That's going to be a fight. Watch it next week. I have no idea how that's going to go down. I'm excited to watch
no
it.
clue what that's.
And then Dan Merle will be back in the ring soon to take it on and put that belt up on the line. I can't wait.
I can't either. I've been wanting to put this belt up
Yeah,
for
you
a
haven't fought in a while.
long time.
This got delayed
Yeah.
longer than we wanted to, but
Yeah.
it'll be worth the wait, and then you'll be back in the running to keep fighting. I love it. All right.
Yep.
That's it. Thanks for watching. Everybody have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.